Welcome to prime time.
Bitch. Yeah, she didn't want to say that word. What's up, guys? It's Danny.
And Charlotte.
And we're from the Lasercast. And if you couldn't tell, we just watched the latest episode of Shudder'S Behind the Monsters. And the main topic of this episode was
Freddy Krueger.
coffee. Oh, yes, Freddy Krueger.
Stuffy.
And yes, we have a bunch of the stuff that we have in my
Baby
horror
Freddy's
corner. Baby Freddy's up there. I have this
minifigure.
tiny little Freddy doll over
We
here.
lost his hat.
Charlotte definitely has the Freddy pop. It's somewhere in the house. But yeah, Freddy,
Stuffy
if you couldn't tell by all of this stuff, he is very important to me and my horror life. I've told this story many, many times on this channel, so I'll make it very short. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, is It's the Dream Warriors. That is the movie I credit as the movie that got me into horror. It was probably 7 or 8 years old. It was on TV, on regular TV, and I watched it in my old apartment with my parents.
Isn't that the first horror movie you ever watched?
It's the first one that I remember watching alone by myself.
Alone?
Well, like I snuck into Grandma and Grandpa's room because I didn't have a TV in my room when I was younger than you, and basically Grandpa looked in, saw what I was watching. He gave me the famous, "Just don't tell Mom," and he let me watch it. And that's what started it all for me. It was Dream Warriors.
And then Grandma found out.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter now. But yeah, I love Freddy. He's always been my favorite. And what's interesting is somebody on Twitter had posted something about how can people seriously like Freddy when he's a child molester / killer? And I responded, I was like, well, nobody actually likes Freddy Krueger, the character. We just love the movies.
No, we love the character.
Well, yes.
No, we love it.
But in this latest episode of Shudder'S Behind the Monsters, Haley Fouch from Collider says, you don't love Freddy the person. You don't want him to be your dad or your...
I do.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Well, I am your dad.
Best friend.
Okay, yes. You don't love Freddy like that. And she says you love him as a piece of pop culture that's a part of you that you grew up with. And that's how I view Freddy. I don't care that he's a child molester, child killer. Freddy, for me, I was born in 82, so I remember being a kid and having Freddy as that horror icon who was everywhere.
When did the first one come out?
1984. So I didn't see the first one until I actually saw part 3 first, and then I went back and saw part 1. I was only 2. So you love Freddy. So why don't you mention which of the Freddy movies have we watched together?
5. 1, 3, and 7.
1, yes. So, and we have a video on this channel. You can look it up and check it out. But Charlotte and I went through the Nancy Thompson trilogy. We watched part 1, then we watched part 3, Dream Warriors, and then we skipped all the way to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, part 7. Because those are my 3 favorite movies. And what's interesting is Jonathan Craven, Wes's son, is interviewed for this, and he says that, almost everybody says those are their 3 favorite movies, and he wonders, if his dad knew that, being that obviously, Wes Craven wrote and directed parts 1 and 7, and he came back to do an edit of the screenplay and has a story credit for part 3. He's not involved in parts 2, 4, 5, and 6.
2, 4, 5, and 6.
And for me, those are the 4 that aren't the best.
What about that 2010 one?
Yeah, Charlotte has not seen the remake, but she saw clips of it in this episode, and she was just like, what is that?
I mean, he looks like a cat.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jackie Earle Haley, because he's the actor who played Freddy in the remake, because he's a really good actor.
Who did he play?
He played Freddy.
What else?
Oh, oh my God, he was Rorschach in Watchmen. He was a character like a superhero in this movie, Watchmen.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? You love Freddy, so explain why you like Freddy so much.
Well, it's because Freddy. Well, I just like him because, unlike, this is what everybody says, unlike Michael Myers and Jason, there's 2 reasons. One, he actually talks and has, a funny humor and is just oh, ta-da, and he has funny movements, while Jason and Michael Myers is and I love his little head tilt. And also, he's not wearing a mask, and you can actually see his face.
Yeah, a lot of the people bring up the fact that, he's wearing the makeup, the burn makeup, but he doesn't have a mask. You get to just see him as this horror icon. And of course, that's what drew me to Freddy. We opened this video by going, welcome to prime time. That was the kill. I credit that kill with making me a horror fan. The idea of Michael Myers, and I've said this before, Michael Myers terrifies me. The white mask coming out of the darkness.
He's scarier than Jason.
Oh, yeah. I think he's scarier than Freddy. But Freddy will always be my favorite because of the things you said. Especially the fact that he is so funny. Now, the series walks a thin line between being scary and then becoming too much fun.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, too much fun.
You saw clips from you saw the clip of him on the broom going, "I'll get you, my pretty," and
so sweet. Something meat.
How sweet, fresh meat.
How sweet, fresh meat.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a one-liner for every occasion.
Yeah.
And at first, those one-liners were geared specifically at, teasing the character about what was, an issue that they had. So, in part 3, for instance, he kills, even Welcome to Prime Time, bitch, is a line because the character Jennifer wanted to be an actress. Yeah. There's the great scene with the girl who is the drug addict, and then he has the needles. Let's get high. And he kills her that way. He always had, a special death planned out for whoever the character was based on what they were afraid of.
I wonder how he does it. Let's just okay, this one's next, needles.
Well, I mean, he works within your nightmares, so he knows what you're afraid of. He knows what you have. So, did you see the clip of part 4 where the girl's turning into the bug?
No.
Oh, there's this character in part 4 who is, she's she lifts weights and she's really strong, but she hates bugs. Yeah. And so what does Freddy do? He turns her into a cockroach, and then he squashes her like a bug. I like I said, I love I love all the movies in the series minus the remake. Even part 6, because I just have so many memories. My dad took me to the movie theater to see part 6. Go, what?
Okay, so you want to finish? I was just going funny.
One of the speakers in the video, first of all, let me just say from the beginning, the video gets all the people you want. So you get Heather Langenkamp, of course. You get Robert Englund. They even have archived video of Wes Craven, who sadly passed away a few years ago. They have his son, Jonathan Craven. And it's great to hear from him talking about, his father and his father's legacy. And then they have the same group of great talking heads from the horror community. From Fangoria, from Collider, from all over.
Those two drag queens with the crazy
The Boulet brothers, who they have a show on Shudder.
I call them sisters.
Anya Stanley on again, and she makes the Home Alone comparisons,
yeah.
right? You like Home Alone?
I like Home Alone.
But isn't it funny, like the end of part 1 of Nightmare on Elm Street,
it's like Home Alone, and it's the same type of like basement trap, basement iron.
They even
door trap, door
setting somebody on fire.
Yeah.
Freddy gets set on fire, and then they set
the guy's head on fire.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in part 3, I really love the part where it's a giant Freddy snake.
The worm, the Freddy worm that comes out of the ground and tries to eat poor Patricia Arquette. I've said this before, like Charlotte. Like I said, Charlotte only watched parts 1, 3, and 7.
Yeah.
This series, the Behind the Monsters on Shudder, is great because not only do they talk about that first movie that created the icon, but it goes through every movie in the franchise. So now Charlotte, watching this, is now, what did you say to me about the rest of the Freddy movies? Well, you said you wanted to
watch the rest.
Yeah. So like she hasn't seen 2, 4, 5, and 6, and now she kind of wants to go back and watch us. And I have no issues with that. I wanted to introduce her to the Nancy Thompson trilogy because they're my 3 favorites. And there's a nice through, Heather Langenkamp as Nancy carries those 3 movies. But 2, 4, 5, and 6, I like and I have fun with, and now I'm excited to go through this with her. They also had Tommy Hudson, who was a writer and producer on Never Sleep Again. They have a 6-hour documentary about the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
This was very long too. I didn't even know that they made this and that and commercials and Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So Freddy Krueger, probably more than anyone else, became a true, maybe the first horror pop culture icon. And that's what you're talking about. So when I was a kid, you would turn on the TV and Freddy Krueger would be on TV trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, wait, what?
Buy this amazing pad by Freddy Krueger.
Or he had a 900 number. Kids today would never even understand what a 900 number is.
What's a 900 number?
It was a phone number where you could call and Freddy would talk to you. But you had to, but if you called, you had to pay per minute.
What?
Yeah, every minute you were on the phone, you had to pay money.
Oh, here's $1.
Yeah.
Oh, here's.
But because Freddy was a wisecracking character, because he had those one-liners, he was able to become this MTV generation pop culture icon. That Jason is the topic of next week's Behind the Monsters.
Oh, right.
Jason appears on an episode of Arsenio Hall. They're going to cover that. I know they are. But Jason could not possibly be the pop culture icon that Freddy was. Last week they covered Chucky.
They did.
And
they did.
The problem with Chucky is that he's a doll.
Yeah.
So, Brad Dourif isn't going to show up. Brad Dourif isn't going to show up and sit behind the couch while the doll talks to an interviewer, whereas Robert Englund could throw the makeup on and he's there. What are your thoughts on Robert Englund?
Sorry, I'm cheap as getting killed. Anyway, I honestly was like, oh my god, it's Robert Englund! I love Robert Englund! Without makeup.
I've gotten such an appreciation for Robert Englund as the years have gone by. He's like a genuinely
Like
good-looking
Rob
guy. He's like a genuinely nice guy. He's done so many movies aside from Nightmare, and that he's totally cool
Wait,
just
what?
being Freddy. Yeah, he's been...
I've only ever seen him in Freddy.
Well, you're also almost 11 years old. So...
Well, I've almost seen every horror movie in the world.
But yeah, I'm really glad Robert Englund, his legacy continues to go on because of these movies. Charlotte loves him. You know, Charlotte's in a performing arts junior high, and one day, you know, should you ever become an actress, I think like Robert Englund would make a great grandpa figure in a movie for you. And then like you could watch horror movies with Grandpa with Robert Englund, and he could be like, "How about we watch Nightmare on Elm Street?" And you could be like, "No, that's a bad movie." And then he can give you a look.
He'd be like,
It'll be like a really meta movie.
wait, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I just went off on a weird... I was planning your future, and there was like in my mind...
That I'm going to heaven and meeting Robert Englund?
No, heaven.
I
No,
don't
that
know.
you were going to make a movie with Robert Englund where he played your grandfather. Don't worry about it.
I'm pretty sure, not to be rude, but he won't be alive.
No, what? He's not that old. He's only in his... I would say he's probably in his either mid-60s.
Only mid-60s? I'm sorry, but he looks like he's in his 80s.
Well, now he's not going to be in a movie with you. You just insulted him.
I'm sorry.
If you watch this, Mr. Englund, I'm sorry.
No.
Ow. Please don't.
I'm sorry.
I love this series. I love watching
okay.
these with Charlotte.
You're 40 in my opinion.
I'm 39. Oh, Robert Englund, yes.
Yeah.
I love this series. I love watching them with Charlotte. I think they, in 40 to 45 minutes, they give you so much fun information about not just the character, but the character's whole franchise, their mass appeal to the people, what makes them popular. And we've now gone through Michael Myers, Candyman, Chucky, and my favorite, Freddy Krueger. Next week is Jason, a character where you know everything about because you've seen almost all of his movies. So next week we will cover Behind the Monsters of Jason.
Oh my god.
What?
If you say, we only watched 11 out of 12 movies, I am gonna...
I'm not going to bring up that you haven't watched the remake. I promise. Oh, darn, I said. But anyway, that's it for us. I just posted a review of Chucky from this week. Probably my new favorite show of 2021, aside from Behind the Monsters. Pete has an interview up with author Phil Fracassi that you guys should totally check out. It's a great interview. And we have a lot more coming up for you as we head towards Thanksgiving. There's actually a really cool Thanksgiving horror movie that's now on Shudder called Blood Rage. We should check that out.
I was hoping it'd be called Bloody Turkey or something.
Bloody Turkey?
Killer Turkey.
There is a movie called Thanksgiving about a killer turkey.
I was hoping.
Oh dear, I think I might have to watch Thanksgiving now.
Yay! Go, go.
But this has been Danny.
And Charlotte.
And we've been talking Shudder's Behind the Monsters on Freddy Krueger, and we will talk to you very soon.
Bye.